upped our standards. So now, up yours. The Daily Mojo.
From his extended stay on the French Riviera, it is Dan Andros from Faithwire and the host of the Quickstart podcast. He wasn't really. He was actually in Cancun, Mexico, having a fabulous vacation down in Cancun.
No, I was actually in the luxurious locale of Denver, Pennsylvania. So,
Denver. I didn't even know there was a Denver, Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
Nice?
Exactly. So,
is it mountainous?
no, that John Denver man, he's okay. I'm just kidding. But if you know, you know.
And Dan and I were talking prior to the being back here on the air and being at camp with the Utes of America, and I made the comment that I've met a few Utes in the past several months. One of which was our Uber driver to the airport, and he was a 20-something, and he was sharp as a tack. He was on it as far as the news goes. He was a conservative type, and I was like, wow, this is great. I mean, there's hope. And so you say that the Utes at the camp they gave you hope for the future?
Well, yeah, these are kids from my church who are part of the youth group, and so a lot of great kids there. So
good. All right, but that's
we
need all the hope and help we can get. Oh, good, because sometimes when you look around and you see the videos of some of these kids out there, it's like, no. I mean, you really do have to. Yeah, it makes you worry for the future, but hopefully we've got things settled. Unlike out there, and I was going to tell you I wanted to talk about this, but I didn't. This is out there in Albany Hill, California, the battle over the cross out there. Okay. The monument. Are you familiar with that? You familiar with that?
I know there's
story?
A couple going on. I'm not sure I'm familiar with this specific one, but
Albany Hill is out there. I guess it's south of San Francisco. It's a little seaside town in California, and there's a plot of land, about an acre of land that was given to the town back, I want to say in the 50s, by a family. It was given to the town, but then deeded to the Lions Club. They got an easement, and the Lions Club went out and put a 28-foot tall aluminum and plexiglass cross on this hill, thanks to their easement. And it had lights in it, so it would light up at Christmas and Easter and all of those, and would light up around the remembrances of 9/11. And then along comes the activist types, and they want the cross taken down because, you can't have a cross out there, in full view of God and everybody. And they're, arguing separation of church and state and all of that. And so the court basically said, look, the city can either sell the land. Lions Club offered to buy it. And we'll buy the land, keep the cross up. Or you can take the land through eminent domain. Guess what the town did? They took the land and they took the cross down and they put it in storage. Yeah. And so it's been 1970, this cross was put up there. And it's like, okay, let's just say you're an atheist and you're pissed off that there's a cross. Okay. But do you have to take things to this extreme? Whatever happened to live and let live?
Well, that's not the MO of the modern day militant atheists. They're trying to stamp out all Christianity. They've decided that it's this big blight on society and that it's their moral duty, which I always find hilarious coming from atheists who believe it's their moral duty to fight something. As the ancestors of bacteria and the ancestors of fish who are spontaneously just fizzing. They're just bags of gas fizzing, and they're the product of their chemical reactions. But yet they're on a mission, Brad, to right all the wrongs of the world. so that their ancestors, the bacteria, can rest in peace. I don't know. It makes no sense. They're fighting against their own worldview, in my opinion, when they do stuff like this, when they claim some sort of moral high ground. Their feet are firmly planted in thin air when it comes to that, as far as having a basis to stand on. So it's the whole thing is ridiculous to me. But like you said, live and let live. What is wrong with your life? How big of a snowflake are you that you can't drive by and see a cross and not just get over it? You know, it just moveon.com. Like the cross.
It is. Yeah. I know, it boggles my mind too. I mean, and I have a family member who is I think she still identifies as an atheist. And, you know, it's like, well, why, you know, I've asked her in the past, well, why even bother? What are we, you know, why the charade? Why can't I just come over and stab you in the eye right now? There's no, there's no cosmic justice or anything like that. And if I'm not going to get punished for it, you know, why not just, and there's never really a good answer for that. But the former mayor of the city was quoted as saying, "I want to reiterate that neither the city council nor the city of Albany endorses in any way the lighting of the cross for any occasion, religious or nationalistic, or supports its continued presence on public property." That was the mayor at the time in 2017, Peggy McQuaid. And I'm not going to say that Peggy McQuaid looks like a miserable human being, but Peggy McQuaid does not look like the kind of person you'd want to have at like a really fun party. She just looks like she just as soon kick you in the teeth. It's like these people just, again, it's like I said, the live and let live.
Yeah, and Peggy needs to let her hair down a little bit. And,
right.
But yeah,
it's bizarre. It
is bizarre, and it's frustrating to have to deal with these battles. Like you said, what is your life come to when this is your big mission in life, is to take down something, right? Like, I thought this was the tolerance crowd. This was the you know, everyone is loved and let's just treat everybody equally. But that doesn't fit. Like, how do you just say, well, we got to take this down? How can you not also look at the Christians and say, oh, look at the Christians with their, you know, they're willing to look at the Muslims and let Muslim women, I mean, hey, believe all women and we love all the women and yada, yada, yada. But Muslims have women rolling around with, you know, big tarps on their heads. And the progressives aren't worried about that. They don't seem to care about that, but yet there's a crossover here, and we better hurry up and go stamp that and take it down. To me, it's just another one of the evidences that Christianity is real, because out of all the things going on, and all the tolerance and the equity and the diversity happening, Christianity is the one where they're like, nope, not that one.
Right. It really. Again, I never thought I would get to this point in life where things have gotten this crazy. I remember growing up in Boron, California, which is a stone's throw from Edwards Air Force Base, you know, where they kept the UFOs, and where they faked part of the moon landing. But there was a hill in Boron, and it had a big cross on the hill made out of rocks. And nobody ever freaked out about it. No one was ever, I mean, it was just, that's the cross on the hill. It was nice. It makes me think, Brad. I know California is not they're not the Israelites. I get that. But when I read stories like this, and I see stories like this where you have people intentionally taking out the symbols of God and then tucking them away, I can't help but think about Old Testament Israel and how they would fall away from following God. They would, you know, the commandments, you know, brought down through Moses would get pushed aside, all the laws pushed aside, and they'd start worshiping all these different idols, and they'd make up their own gods and they'd create them. And I'm watching this and I'm like,
again, I know that this lovely lady that you showed, I'm sure she's not a professing Christian. I get that. But still, you have people made in the image of God, and they're just going out of their way to suppress the fact that God exists. And it's sad. It's really sad. And mostly I feel bad for them because they're heaping coals on themselves.
And then the next mayor, or I think is actually the current mayor of what's it called, Albany Hill, or Albany, California. His name is Aaron Tiedemann, and so I just looked him up on the Twitters, and there's some people that they can look at you
On
and
X?
you just
You mean on X?
excuse me, I'm sorry, on X. You're right. I apologize. And I looked at him, and I know I'll be superficial. You don't have to be, but there are some people that just when you look at him, they make you want to slap him upside the head. He just happens to be one of those people with that look on his face. It's just that snarky look.
You know what he looks like?
What?
He looks like one of the pictures the Onion would use for one of their feature images.
Yeah, he does. He's got the same look on his face that like David Hogg usually has. It's the same thing. But he is, I think Prop 26 is out there in California. I think it was the, whatever it was, the new voting system they wanted to use, the ranked choice voting. How, the person who got the most, and then the second person, if the first person wasn't able to serve something, the ranked voting thing, it was all this crazy.
I thought you were going to say the cherry picker machine, but anyway, that works too.
No, not that one. No. But he wrote an op-ed, and he's the mayor of this town. He wrote an op-ed back then saying, at least I think that's the same guy. I don't know how many Aaron Tiedemans there are. Prop 26 is a little too complex for me to tell anyone how to vote on it, but it will impact my community of Albany and the Bay Area. If you look at the map below, there's one place in the Bay Area will be affected. It's the gold. His explanation of this proposition was like, I don't really know if I should tell you how to vote on it. And now he's the mayor of Albany. And he was one of those people who just was opposed to having this cross up out there, and you just get feelings about people. And he's another one of those, and it's why California is falling apart, which irritates me because I like the state. It's a very beautiful state.
It's a beautiful state, and
sad.
the progressives are destroying it. They're making it impossible to live there, and people are fleeing it. And then they progress. The interesting phenomena with progressives is I don't think they know what they're doing. It's like they're driving in a pickup truck with a bunch of garbage in the back, and the garbage is falling all out, and they don't realize it. And then they turn around and like, what is this place? Is a dump. What happened? And you dumped all the garbage there, but they have no idea. So it's like the same thing with their voting. They'll vote for all these progressives that make life miserable for everyone. Nobody can afford the property taxes. Everything's out of control. And then they turn around and they're like, what happened? What is going on here, guys? I can't figure it out. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Texas. And then they start voting for all the same moron.
And again, I circle back to makes me want to slap him upside the head, but you don't have to. Some good news, though, I noticed there on the front page of Faithwire, Sound of Freedom, well over 100 million. I just checked. $124 million. So there is hope for the future.
Is it beat now, obviously Barbie and Oppenheimer were the big winners this past weekend, but Sound of Freedom beat Mission Impossible, like 20 million to 19 million. That's crazy.
Did it really?
Yeah, now Mission Impossible's in its like third weekend, but so is Sound of Freedom. So that's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Last I looked, anyway.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was like 20 million, inched it out, like 20 million to 19.5 million or something like that.
That's amazing.
Obviously, the totals, the Mission Impossible has a great total. They had a big opening weekend, but for this past weekend, it just shows that it's still going, and it's really remarkable. I am just flummoxed, Brad, on how people are finding ways to be mad about the Sound of Freedom. Like, this guy's not fighting child trafficking in the right way. What a jerk. Like, how about you get out of your basement and do something about it? Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, there's better tactics out there for fighting the child. This is potentially well, what are you doing? What are you doing?
It is weird.
You're like, he's not fighting it the right way.
What they're doing is called armchair quarterbacking.
Yeah.
It's
hang on,
weird.
guys. I gotta go yell at Jim Caviezel because Tim Ballard's not fighting it the right way. I have more donuts to eat. Come on. Like, what do you... Shut up. Just say
It's
thanks
weird.
to the guy for going out there. And
right.
Even if he saved one kid, it's
right.
better than how many kids have you saved? How many kids have you saved, Mr. Keyboard Warrior? None. You saved none.
It is so bizarre. I cannot. I'm with you. I'm like, why are they so hell bent on trying to knock this thing down? And
he talked to Glenn Beck once. Yeah, I know he's saving kids, but he's nice to conservatives. Oh,
it is so
we're the
strange.
dumbest society, Brad. We are the dumbest.
I was trying to make this good news.
Now you got me all fired up. We got a guy out here who's literally saving kids. He's saving kids, and we're finding ways to fight about it. I mean, we're so dumb. We are so dumb. It's hitting me right now how dumb of a society we are. Oh man, this ridiculous Tim Ballard.
Remember about 10 minutes ago when I asked you if there was hope for the future?
There's not.
And you're all like, yeah.
No,
how things change in 10 minutes.
Look,
it's really bizarre.
I take it all back. All the kids are on social media. They're going to be infected by social media. They're going to be finding ways to be mad about stuff that they have absolutely no reason. They don't even know what they're talking about. What?
We're doomed.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I just got to see what my team is mad about today. Oh, this guy's saving kids. He's a jerk. All right. Yep. All right. This jerk saving kids. Not doing it the right way. We must all
rise up against him. He's doing it wrong.
He's doing it wrong.
He's
not saving kids the right way.
What's coming up? See, this has been better than caffeine. What's coming up on the Quickstart podcast that people can look forward to today?
We've got a couple cool stories. Actually, there's revival in Taiwan, which is really interesting because China, they're threatening taking action there. So. It's interesting to see the Christianity sort of reviving there. Also, we talked to a guy who's behind this wall of answered prayer, which is also very cool. They're building a big monument in the UK, which I don't know how it got in the UK instead of America, but basically it's all these times God's answered prayers and people are commemorating that. And there's like millions of them on this wall. It's very, very cool. Very cool idea. And then we got also the Air Force general who talked about how America is better positioned to effectively use AI and that he worries about these other countries that don't have a Judeo-Christian background because of the potential of they have no backstop, right? They've got no moral baseline at all. There's nothing holding them back from just, like the Chinas of the world that'll just be insane with it.
Stabbing you in the eye. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. They have no restraints. So that and more on the Quickstart podcast today. And I don't yell, I promise. That was all my yelling for the week. That was it.
The First Amendment.
Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do.
Lives here. Watch and listen at thedailymojo.com.